Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us into the night. James out west, Pat the Stat Guy, KDUS 1060 Phoenix. We were talking about the AFC Championship game. You know, there's obviously so much to cover and unpack with the championship game and diving into it. You know, Pat, you did say you had a couple of things that you wanted to bring up, and I just wanted to real quick before I let you dive into it. I thought this was really nice for the Ravens. Like I said, you know, they fell a bit short, but they did find guys, like we said, you know, the Isaiah Likely find to pair him with Mark Andrews, a guy you're going to talk about, Zay Flowers, how he's really shown up. You know, I could care less about OBJ Jr. But, you know, like what they have on offense is really remarkable, and Lamar just getting a little bit better every year. Man, they're going to be dynamite. So, all right, so.
I do want to – this is a play you just reminded me of. I wasn't going to talk about this, but Isaiah Likely, I do want to say don't throw your hand up when there's three guys there, all right? You know, I don't know if –
he was not open.
Yeah, I know.
To throw your hand up like you're open.
Has to kind of see that himself, but when your guy throws, you know, again, you know, gives you the "I'm open" signal, you just huck it. You go, okay, he's open. Let me throw it. He was not open,
and he definitely threw it short. He didn't like launch it to the back of the end zone where you might have got the penalty call or you might have got something else. But he threw it to
three guys there. It wasn't likely to get caught. So either way, but yeah, again, so you know, something Lamar said after the game was like, it wasn't like they didn't move the ball down the field, right? They just. You know, they didn't convert. They didn't put any points on the board, and obviously that's why they lost. And one of the big drives, you know, involves Zay Flowers, right?
Yeah.
So Zay Flowers had a big 51-yard catch play, and then got a 15-yard penalty for taunting afterwards. So
that'll set you back.
Know, I'm not good at math. You know, 51 minus 15. You know, but either way, like it
35 yards,
right? Like it does set you back, right? But after that. You know, so he gets the taunting penalty, and then the drive continues. And you know, there's the next play, the big Zay Flowers play is he fumbles at the 1, right? And so then the guy that he taunted, L'Jarius Sneed, is the one that forced the fumble at the 1, right? So instant karma right there. And then he, you know, of course, Flowers goes over to the bench after, slams his hand in his helmet against the chair and cuts his finger. So
his finger?
Yeah, you know, a lot of blood. Well, not a lot, but you got to see some blood on the camera. If you were watching the game. But, yeah, you know, I feel for the kid. You know, again, I think he learned his lesson. He got that instant karma for that taunting penalty. I think he learned his lesson.
He literally was quoted by saying, I will learn from this.
Yeah, well, there you go. But, again, like, I think he's an amazing player, an amazing talent. He kind of reminds me of Tyreek Hill. So just imagine, like, Lamar Jackson having a Tyreek Hill-esque weapon on his team going forward. Like you said, they're going to be dangerous. Yeah, and when they get Andrews fully healthy and all that stuff. But anyways, you know, so I thought obviously that was a big play. You know, I don't know if you had any takes on it.
Well, I thought that the interesting, you know, with the all-time records, and you bring up Tyreek Hill because he was even mentioned this week with Travis Kelce breaking Jerry Rice's all-time receptions record in the playoffs. Yeah. With 159, I think it is, or 156. I think it's one of those two. Maybe a little dyslexia showing up. But it's one of those. Breaking that record, and I think Jerry's was like 151. I'm pulling this off the top of my head. I'm not really sure. But on that list was Tyreek Hill at 95 receptions in the playoffs. Think about that. He's got 95 receptions in the playoffs. Almost all of that, within reason, was done with Pat Mahomes. Right. And then think about what Kelsey's is with Pat Mahomes. So, like, that's the Mahomes getting in there and being able to show that, you know, hey, they throw the ball a lot. Obviously, we know that. But, like, he can make those elite guys elite. So that was kind of interesting to see.
So, actually, I found I had something written down that I thought was funny. You had me scrambling through all these papers, man. I took so many notes. But either way, so, yeah, it's 156 now for Kelce receptions, 151 for Rice, who's now second on that list. And now that he's right above third on that list at 118, which is a pretty good gap. Right?
Julian
Edelman, who took his daughter to prom, took Jerry Rice's daughter to prom.
Yeah, that's
how funny is that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Little cyclical. That's hilarious. So real quick, before we move on.
And again, also another Kelce stat, 6 TDs in 6 AFC championship games.
My goodness.
Yep.
Dude, so in the last 12 playoff games that he's played, he's got 104 catches, like 1,300 yards, and 14 touchdowns. In 12 games, yeah. Wow. 12 playoff games, his last 12 playoff games. It's tremendous. So, obviously, I watch Hallmark a lot.
Okay.
I love, okay?
Sure.
And, you know, these people with the too much Travis Kelce and too much Taylor Swift, too much Tay-Tay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you know what I'm saying?
It's right up your alley.
You know, yeah. Well, this seems like a movie where they're the main characters. Like, this definitely seems like a Hallmark movie. the star football player gets the singer, the whole thing. But remember, before this happened, ladies and gentlemen, we had Jackson Mahomes dancing all over the place. I'd rather them shoot pictures and video of Taylor Swift, and then now we got Jason in the background with the comic relief.
Right.
I'd rather them have that than Mahomes' horrible dancing and Tom Brady's awful acting skills for rental cars, mattresses, or over-celebritized sports gambling platforms. So just remember that when we're having a problem with that. Like I've said in the past, it's going to be probably the most watched Super Bowl in history. And so if it's good for the game, it's good for the gander. I just wanted to bring that up. I love love. I am a Hallmark person in that regard. Shout out my wife. This seems like that. And remember what we had before. So count your blessings is just about Taylor Swift as opposed to the other.
I mean, I can't lie. I was really hoping you weren't going to bring up Taylor Swift and in this broadcast.
It's different.
And I saw one stat that they Bleacher Report posted earlier today that I found kind of interesting, being in media, that they say Taylor Swift basically has the equivalent of has earned the NFL and the Chiefs an equivalent of $331.5 million this year.
My goodness.
Yep.
My goodness.
With all the print, digital, and all the media and stuff like that, all the attention that they've gotten, probably jersey sales and all that stuff. So.
Oh, absolutely. Good Morning Football on NFL Network was actually talking about it, how Kyle Brandt, shout out Kyle Brandt, said that his daughter only knows of Travis Kelce for one reason, and that during the game she came out and was like, if Travis Kelce scores, come get me. So he scored. So he went and got her, and she just wanted to see the shot of the booth with Taylor losing her mind, and she went ballistic. And it was like, but that's going to transcend into, that osmosis of wanting to know what football's going on. Speaking of, real quick, before we move on to the next game, because obviously we're going to look ahead, but there's a lot of questions for both teams. Obviously, we kind of talked about what Baltimore, in the future, what they're going to look like and kind of what they found. And, like you said, Zay Flowers and the things that they have. We know what Kansas City is. They win this Super Bowl. They're a dynasty essentially, right? It's certified. Mm-hmm. They got some guys that are getting up there in age, coaching. There's a lot of questions that we can get into later, of course, but just some food for thought as you start thinking about this next week, because this week off, essentially, they have 2 weeks off till the game.
Right.
There's a lot of time to heal, a lot of time to prepare, and a lot of time to think and reflect. So we'll see what happens. You got anything else about the AFC we want to chat about?
No, I mean, you just did remind me that Travis Kelce is, and maybe if 2 guys retire in the next week, he's the 3rd oldest tight end. Like you said, they're a dynasty, and I wonder how long their window is for that pairing. I mean, we all know Pat Mahomes. Will he ever get to Brady's 7? That's kind of crazy, but I can foresee 5 or 6. But will it be with Travis Kelce? And how long is their window with him? Because, again, he's 34, and there's only 2 tight ends in the league that are older than him, and they're basically, 3rd and 4th string guys. It's Mercedes Lewis and Jimmy Graham, right?
That sounds wild, because I feel like those guys played in the 90s.
Right? They're 37 and 39, those guys. And so either way, just a random stat wanted to throw at you. I have it written down here. So, obviously, congrats to the Chiefs again. Mm-hmm. Again, we said last week, we knew how good the Ravens were, but it was hard to go against Pat Mahomes, as he had proven us wrong the last 2 weeks, keeps winning on the road. Now 3-0 on the road. Again.
So obviously when the Patriots did what they did, and, that 20, basically a 20-year run,
right,
with Tom and Bill, and we're like, we'll never see anything like that again. And we may not see the longevity of something like that of 20 years.
Right.
But we are seeing a portion of that right now. Like you said, if they win this one here, they will have gone to 5 and will have won 3.
This is Pat's 4th. So, Pat Mahomes, he's in his 6th year as the starter, right? This is his 4th Super Bowl.
So this could give him 3.
Yeah.
Give him 3.
I know, I think it was up last year that, he was, where Tom is at. I don't have it in front of me, but it was comparing. He's a year behind Tom. When Tom got his second, Tom was 26 or whatever, and Pat was 27, or maybe it was 27, 28. It was he's a year off of as far as pace with Tom, and, they've got a great team.
It's incredible what they've been able to do and accomplish. It's nice to see. It's nice to see good people do well. So, all right, so let's move on to the NFC game, because that was the game that, we talked about, unofficial America's team, the Detroit Lions. Are people in the NFC North fans, some not. Mm-hmm. You're one of those not rooting for them. Your mother, shout out Jane, she obviously was, and we talked about that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I heard on Sports Radio NFL Network, guys calling in, hey, I'm a Chicago Bears fan, but I'm pulling for the old Detroit Lions because I like Dan Campbell. I think a lot of people, they were the unofficial America's team. I think They like the fact that Dan Campbell wears his heart on his sleeve. He's very emotional. He's very, going to go with my feelings, for better or worse. And I think that it was nice that he rode with it.
Yeah.
And we'll get into those things, but just the outside looking at it, it was incredible to see what they were able to do all year, and then to get by in the playoffs like they did. It's okay, they are no longer the same old Lions that couldn't get over the hump, but they're gonna make a bonehead decision, and that really. I mean, some people might say with the fourth downs, but 34-31 in a game that they had the ability to win, no doubt.
Right.
And some different ideas that could have happened and changed the way of things happening, but the better team won. Now, Detroit basically played better the entire game, or all the way, that third quarter was a big hiccup. The third quarter was a big hiccup, but they were right there. They need to be confident in that moving forward, that they are going to be able to be a team that is in the mix for not just the NFC North, but for the NFC every year for the next couple of years. They've got a young team, coaching staff, depending on what happens if they get gutted, we don't know what's going to happen with Ben Johnson. We're not going to happen what's going to go on with Aaron Glenn. So there could be some attrition there, but they got young running backs, young receivers. They've got a good setup, and I feel confident for the Detroit Lions moving forward.
Well, I want to clear some things up here because I'm
Please do.
not, I am an NFC North guy, right? I'm a Vikings fan, but I'm not, to be honest, this might sound like hate. The Lions haven't really been good enough or relevant enough for me to hate on, right? And my hate isn't actually towards the Lions. I would be rooting for the Lions if the Michigan Wolverines didn't just win the national championship. That's what it was. I'm actually not a Michigan Wolverines fan. That I have no problem. If you want to call me a hater, that's what I hate on. I hate on the Michigan Wolverines, right? And the Harbaughs. Who's got it better than the Harbaughs? Well,
Everybody.
right now, Andy Reid, right? Yeah. Right now. So, anyways, I'm just kidding. But, the Lions, they played a great game. They came out swinging, got everything they absolutely wanted on the Niners defense. They looked unstoppable, and I really believe that they were going to come out in the second half with some fire going, we're a half away from the Super Bowl. We're about to prove everybody wrong. And they went from playing, we talked about it last week, that I said if they played a perfect game, they could take out the 49ers. They played a perfect first half, followed by the worst quarter of their season.
Yep.
So, again, a great performance. I don't know if there's a lot to get into in this game too. I know we don't have much time to really talk about it, but obviously, Motor City Dan Campbell, Eminem, all those Lions fans have a lot to be proud of. So.
Absolutely. Like you said, man, the Lions went right down, smacked the Niners in the mouth, immediately took a counter shot, and then they responded. They did everything they had to in the first half to win that game, but like you said, you play 60 minutes, not 30. It was just one of those things that happened. It was unfortunate, but again, the future is bright for the Detroit Lions. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are listening to KDUS 1060 Phoenix, home of the Dan Patrick Show, Rich Eisen, and of course, James out west with Pat the Stat Guy. Make sure you guys come on back.